You're chasing a feeling, not a person. And, I think this is going to be one of my more eye-opening videos and one of my videos that resonates with a lot of you, and that you become a lot more self-aware of yourself, and it's going to actually cause you to start making changes within your life. And that's because it's my own personal experience, and probably the biggest thing I had to recognize within myself. I caught myself constantly going after people that were no longer good for me, people that I knew weren't good for me, people that I knew were toxic to my life, people that I knew were just like a bad person to have in my life. And I constantly caught myself going after this person, and I never could really figure out why until I figured out why. And what I had to realize within myself was that I was going after this person because of the feeling they were able to provide to my life. And for a lot of y'all, it's gonna look so different. For a lot of y'all, it might be happiness, a lot of y'all might be peace, a lot of y'all might be comfort, someone you can be vulnerable with without the feeling of being judged. And for myself, it was like that feeling of self-love, it was that feeling of self-worth, it was that feeling of, oh, you're capable of getting this type of person, or you're capable of getting these type of people in your life. It was an ego drive to an extent. And once all of that was gone, the moment that that person stepped out of my life, the moment that that person temporarily stepped away, or where I had to guess if that person was in my life, had that anxiety of thinking, are we on good terms? Are we on bad terms? What's actually happening? When I caught myself in those states, that's when all those things went away. That's when all my happiness went away. That's when all my, my depression came about. That's where all my self-love went away. That's where all my self-worth went away. I wasn't attracted to the person, or I didn't more so care for the person. I more so wanted the feeling they were able to provide to me. And when you're depending on other people to provide certain things to your life that you really can't operate without, I think that makes you overlook all the bad in the situation, why the situation isn't good for you, why you don't need that person. It makes you basically overlook all the red flags and only pay attention to that one thing that you're going after. It's almost like a dopamine hit. It's like your phone's bad for you, TikTok and all this different social media is bad for you, but it's the satisfaction and the entertainment you're able to get away from it that makes you not even care about all the bad stuff that it's actually doing to you and affecting you as a person. And, I think a lot of this stuff just comes down to the certainty of it. Some people will literally tell you, I don't want you, I don't want to be in your life, or they'll literally just show you, like, I don't value the situation, I don't care to have you around. And we still go out of our way to try and prove our worth. We still go out of our way to try and force this person into our life in any way, shape, or form. And that's because of the certainty that we know they're able to provide that feeling. When someone has been in your life and you were on good terms and you saw all these things they were capable of making you feel, there's no uncertainty that whether or not they can actually provide it. You actually saw them provide it once, and so hey, I don't want to go out of my way to go find someone else who may be able to provide this, because I'm certain that this person can provide it because they once did. And so now you're going at this person that isn't good for you, isn't good for you, because of the certainty that they can provide that feeling that you're looking for. But the real issue is that you're looking for anyone to provide that feeling at all. And that's what I had to realize within myself. Once I came to that realization that I can't have my happiness in the life of others. I can't, every time certain people step away from my life or step out of my life, I can't put myself in this state of constant depression, or in this state where, I'm just not good. I lose track of what I want for myself. I'm no longer focusing on my goals, on my vision. Everything basically just breaks down. Everything just kind of starts falling apart in my life because of somebody else's decision about me, something that's completely out of my control. And once I came to that realization that it was like, I don't want to be under the control of other people's actions, other people's decisions they make about me. I never want to allow myself to reach this rock bottom state where it's like I can't even operate as a person. I can't focus as a person solely because of somebody else's decision. And when I realized that for myself, I was finally able to hone in on becoming dependent upon myself rather than dependent upon other people or this specific person. That's why I learned how to build my self-love, how to build my self-worth, how to understand my value and what I actually want as a person, learn what I deserve as a person, get clear on the type of people I want around me. That's how I built myself up into knowing who my authentic self is and knowing who I am as a person, and now allowing my life to be in the hands of others. And, I think a lot of this stuff just comes down to comfort and certainty. The fear of the uncertainty that anybody else will be able to provide what you once had. Anybody else will be able to develop the connection that you once had with someone. It almost makes you see what you have right now in front of your face, or what you feel is like closest to you and that you have the most knowledge of and you have the most comfort with. It almost makes you like want to settle for that and think that that's the best that you can get. Letting go of someone who isn't good for you, but then you're uncertain that you'll ever be able to find somebody that's better than what you have now. That's a terrible state to be in, because it makes you just want to settle for where you're at, even though it's not good for you. And so you really have to develop the mindset that there is better people out here for me. There is somebody who will provide that feeling of feeling love. Not that I should depend on for it, but they will add to me feeling love. They will add to me feeling valued as a person. They will have me in a situation where I feel appreciated, where I feel my value is being recognized. They will add on to my happiness on top of the happiness I already have being alone. They will add on to me feeling enough as a person and me feeling like I deserve certain things in life. When you develop that mindset that where I'm at now, I can't settle for this. I understand it's not a good situation for me to be in, and I just have to take the risk of stepping away from it and stepping into the unknown and trusting that God will place people in my life. God will place the right people in my life. God will place people who make me feel loved and I'll feel all these other different things. You just have to be willing to step into that, because if you constantly hang on to what you have right now and what is, you'll never be able to see what things could possibly be or the better that God has out there for you. And again, it's a comfort and familiarity thing. It's a thing where I'm so comfortable and so certain that I have this person where I feel they understand me. I feel that they have this knowledge of me. I feel that I'm able to express myself without judgment, and I'm able to just do all these various different things without having to second guess it or constantly think about it. And now I have to step out into a situation where I have to build that again with somebody. Take the time to actually build that connection with someone and develop that trust again, develop that vulnerability, or develop that ability to just build a relationship with that person. All that stuff is uncertain, and you never want to get into something new because you never want to invest that amount of energy again for the possibility of it one day just all going away, just like the past one did. And so I think a lot of us try and fix what we have now because we don't care to try and build something new, because we fear that it'll just be a repetitive cycle. It'll be a repetitive process of constantly building up just for it to eventually break down and go through that pain again and just have to keep repeating the process. And so we just try and stick with what's familiar, what's certain, and do our best to keep it around, even if it's not good for us. And, I'll even be vulnerable for a second with how that relates to my life. Being a person who has developed followers, who's, built something for him. You could say money, you could say a certain amount of followers, certain amount of subscribers. There's, believe it or not, something that comes with that. People start to look at you differently. People start to judge you differently. And, as bad as it seems, some people value clout, meaning that some people only try and come into your life because you have these specific things. And one thing I caught myself doing was constantly trying to hang on to the people who knew me for being Will rather than who knew me for being Will Keep It Real. So trying to hang on to people from my past who, I know they know me as a person rather than knowing me for what I built. They know what type of personality I have. They know my story. They know how I text. They know how to communicate with me. They know how I operate as a person, rather than trying to meet somebody new who sees all these different things and allows that to define how they view me rather than seeing me for who I really am. Or taking the time to actually invest into someone and get them to understand me now while still trying to deal with all this. I have a certain style of texting. I have a certain style of communicating. I have a certain sense of humor. Wanting to take the time to actually allow someone into my life and get to understand all those things, that's a process. That's something that you have to invest your time and energy into. And, that was something I tried to avoid at all costs. And so it led me to trying to force people from my past to continuously stay in my life because I knew they knew me for who I really was rather than who other people now see me as. And, you know, to be honest, that's still something I struggle with today at times. That's sometimes a thing I have to remind myself of when my thoughts wander off and stuff like that. You know, it's a continuous process. It's a continuous thing of getting comfortable with and being willing to take that risk. And, you know, I think another thing is that when you understand the impact certain people have had on your life and getting you to where you are, it's hard to picture what life looks like without that person. You know, when someone has helped you grow so much into who you are today, when someone has, you know, just impacted your life in a way where it's helped you to discover things about yourself, you know, you've gone through so many different experiences with them, it's hard to picture, you know, just moving forward in life without that person, without being able to communicate with that person, ask certain questions, knowing that they have this mindset and they've always been a great different perspective and allow you to just like expand your mind. You know, when you have that, you know, it's hard to just like go of that, because it's like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to find this again, and I can't picture life without them, because they've seemingly always been around. And, you know, I've gotten to this point because they were such a huge part of that story, and now it's like, will I even be capable of growing as a person without them? And, you know, that's something I had to realize and learn to trust myself with, knowing that, you know, I am capable of moving forward in life without certain people. You know, people aren't in need, they're a want. People come and go. People take me through different experiences that help me to grow, and I'll meet new people who are capable of doing that same thing if I choose the right people, basically. But, you know, I'm capable of handling my own problems. I'm capable of handling my own emotions, and, you know, I'm capable of becoming dependent upon myself to where I don't feel the need to always rely on others. And, you know, I can learn to rely on myself in order to operate in life. But, you know, you really have to learn to become self-dependent, or else you'll constantly catch yourself trying to stay in places that are no longer for you, trying to stay in places that just make you comfortable and certain, even if they're causing you chaos on the other end. You know, you have to learn to supply yourself with happiness. You have to learn to supply yourself with your own self-love and understand your own value, rather than depending on other people's opinions and how they see you to determine that for you. Because if you're constantly dependent upon people, you'll never be able to operate in your life by yourself, because the moment people leave your life, you'll lose yourself. The moment people walk out of your life, you're in this depressive state, and you can't allow people to have that amount of power over your life, especially because it's something that's out of your control. But I appreciate you guys for tuning into the video. Hope you learned a thing or two. Be sure to join up on the Discord, as well as sign up for one-on-one coaching down in the description. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.